evening and welcome to The Nest, a program that talks about parenting. When someone becomes a parent, life takes a new meaning. Priorities shift, love takes on a new meaning, so to speak. So is parenting as easy as it seems? Can we get everything about parenting from books or from Google? Well, joining me are two wonderful people who have the privilege of being called parents.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Susan Moshisho. I'm a proud mother of two kids. One is 9 years old and the other one is 3 years and 3 months old.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Wilson Muchicho. Susan is my wife.
That's really wonderful. Tell me, how was it the first time that you had to take a new baby home? I mean, you guys are used to living the two of you only.
It's kind of overwhelming because there's so many changes. There are different things, so, and at the same time it's also a beautiful experience. You get yourself in the mix, but you actually at the end of the day you are glad about it because you can see the little one growing, and for both of us we also learn in the process.
Wilson, how was it for you being the man?
Challenging. You can imagine, used to just going to bed, slumber, poop. But now here there's someone else who is keeping you awake. But you have to face the challenge. But it's a very beautiful challenge. And at least with the unity, that's the key. We were able to overcome it.
So you've talked about difficulties. What kind of difficulties are these you faced the first time?
You can imagine you guys are used to coming home, prepare something, then you are good to go, you sleep. Here there is someone else who is keeping you awake almost the entire night. And actually, like our last baby, she used to sleep more during the day. Night, she's awake all night. That was a challenge. So it was kind of, you have to keep on interchanging.
Let me ask you, Susan, and probably shouldn't be hearing this, but did he really help? Was he helpful? How helpful was he?
Yeah, he was helpful in several ways. Like he really used to bath. Most of the time he loved bathing the baby, and she actually also loved it. So he helped me on that area. About the shifts at night, the baby wakes up at times, so you have to wake up in shifts. But to be honest, I'm the one I think who used to wake up most of the shifts because in the middle of it he would sleep and the baby is still crying and he's holding the baby and he's asleep. So you would really get angry, like, yeah. So, but with time he also adjusted to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although at times also he would say at night, like, no, it's your shift, she needs to breastfeed, I cannot do it, so you have to do it. So you see, so somehow for the mom you feel overwhelmed, but he actually helped a lot. Yeah. So even when he would come back in the evening from work, mostly when I was in the maternity period, he would come hold the baby when I'm doing other errands in the house.
And was this because you first enjoyed the first, I think, 7 days for paternity leave? Did that help with you adjusting to the baby, or is it just a time that boys get to do their other side hustles, so to speak?
I was lucky, like in our last baby, I was able to get some leave. But you see, at the same time, you still have to go. You're not asleep during the day. And then you can imagine the challenge for a man. For example, me, I have the baby and she cries. What am I supposed to do? It's not the same like for women. If the baby cries, most probably she will start breastfeeding her. You can see the challenge here. Yeah. So the 7 days, they were quite overwhelming. But as the time went on, maybe you become used and you're
Yeah, and I can imagine handling the baby for the first time, as a dad. Most dads, if I may demonstrate, normally hold their babies like this. Uko, mbali na mimi, because they're not so sure about whether the baby is going to break or something. So that's really good to hear that there's a dad who's actually done the whole birthing thing. So Susan, tell me, your body has, of course, gone through all these changes. I mean, you need to rest also. Did you have somebody to help you? Did you arrange for a house girl way before?
I had plans to get a nanny, but I found one. This one I had because there's this 9-year-old boy, so we had a nanny all through. But she left like 2 weeks before delivery, so getting another one took some time.
Yes.
So for sure, I really had a hard time. So I got one when I was like 2 days to delivery. So adjusting with her and all that. And then also she came, she didn't stay for long. She left because I think also for them, they kind of feel, you know, with the coming of the baby, there's so many adjustments. You know, someone has to be really on their toes also, you know, helping you during the day. So some of them are not able to keep up to that. They feel like they are working too much. So she left. So that time, there's a period like for 1 month I stayed without, although my mother-in-law really helped, but it was really tough. Okay. Yeah. So after that again I got another one, so we were able to pick up. Yeah.
So what would you tell a new mom? What do they need to prepare themselves for this new baby?
I would advise a mom to, first of all, there is a budget part of it, because a baby comes with a lot of expenses. So you really need to budget in advance, have some money kept aside for it, because like for the first 2 months you really spend a lot, even for your health, because you need to be healthy for the baby, even the upkeep for the baby also. So there is you need to save in advance for the coming of the baby. Again, also you need to do like purchases, clothing in advance, have them washed in advance, have them ready, like let's say like half a month before your delivery. And then you also need to have a nanny like a month before, so that you train her, you get to know how she is, she also understands you, you know, so that you two are on the same page, so that when the baby comes, because at times it's so overwhelming for the mother, you easily get irritated for very small things. So you need someone who really understands you, so you can rhyme, so you can plan in advance, because getting a nanny when it's too late can also be a little bit of a crack in your mind. So that's the preparation. And then the people around you, like, okay, most of the people around you are ready for it. They are really waiting for the blessing. But probably you can also, if you have older kids, you need to prepare them that there is another baby coming. Yeah, so that they accept it. Because like when there are some, I know of a friend like had a challenge with having a second born, because the first born was so much attached to the mom. So like he would always fight. He would always like, I don't want him, I don't want the baby, I want to be alone. So you need to also prepare the other kids mentally that there is another baby coming.
Okay. Maybe Wilson, you can help us with that. How did you prepare your firstborn about the arrival of the secondborn?
Actually, our firstborn was, he actually he kept on saying he wants a baby sister. So that was the beauty of it. So he was kind of ready for it. In this case, he was kind of ready for it, and we kept on telling him, yeah, your sister is coming. Even I remember the day she delivered the last born. He kept on saying he wants to go see the baby in the hospital. So he was ready for it in this case.
Maybe as a final word, as a dad, what would you tell fellow men out there who are anticipating to become parents about infant care?
If you're there for her, that can be the best support she can get. That emotional support. You can imagine she's able to face the challenge without any hiccups, and helping her every now and then, that will give her. And of course, making sure that she's able to feed well. I used to prepare her to prepare so much soup for her, and that gave her the ability to give the best milk. Yeah, so some bone soup will do.
So we need to budget for the baby, we need to buy clothes in advance, we need to make soup for our wives. When we come back, the doula will be telling us more about this. Welcome back. Before we went on the break, we were talking to two wonderful parents, Wilson and Susan, who told us about what we need to do to take care of our infant babies. We talked about budgeting, we talked about the father helping, and we talked about getting help before the baby comes. And now we're joined by an expert, Esther, who says she's a doula. So tell us, Esther, who's a doula?
So a doula is a support person. Basically, someone who works with parents from when they are pregnant, when they are in labor and birth, and then after the postnatal period, when the baby has come things to do with breastfeeding, things to do with routines, taking care of the baby, even showing you how to wash the baby or shower the baby or bathe the baby, whatever you say, weaning, and just the basic care of your little one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before you came in, we had spoken to Susan, who was talking about having a budget and preparing things beforehand, before the baby comes.
Yes.
And there's so many myths out there, like, you know, you shouldn't buy clothes, for example, before the baby comes.
Yes.
What's your opinion on this?
I think just the same way you prepare for an examination and you read and prepare, you do need to prepare for the baby, because when the baby they need to be dressed. So that's just a myth. I think it's important to at least buy a few clothes for the baby, because and then babies can come at any time. Some of them will come early, some of them will delay. But if your baby comes and you're not ready, you're in hospital, you don't have time to go shop, it might be a bit tricky. So it's important to prepare for the baby by shopping for them.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, from your description of a doula, I'm thinking it's something like somebody Susan needed in her house, like permanently there, you know,
right?
to just be there to help her with everything. Because, you know, being a first-time mom, it's never easy. What would you tell to a first-time mom on the things they need to buy? What supplies do they need?
You need to break it down to different segments. You need to feed the baby, which is the key thing that you need to do as a parent. So feeding the baby, you need to think, am I going to breastfeed my baby, or am I going to use a different substitute? Different parents have different options. So if you're breastfeeding, you will need a breast pump. You will need a way to feed the baby with that breast milk. You will need a way to store the cups. So you need storage cups or storage bags to be able to store the milk. You will need to think of long-term thing. Will you freeze the milk? So you need a freezer. So that's for breastfeeding. If you're not going to breastfeed and you're going to use maybe infant formula, then you will need bottles for feeding the baby. You will need a way to sterilize the equipment so that the baby is able to it's going to be safe. The cups will be clean so that the baby doesn't get sick. Then you need clothes. You need the way of dressing the baby. So you need clothes, you need rompers and onesies, all these names, you get to learn them as you go along. You'll need shawls and flannels and towels. You'll need to bath the baby. So you need a karai or a basin to wash the baby in. You will need the oils and the soaps and all those things that come around bathing the baby. You will need to change the baby's diaper. So are you going to use nappies? Washable nappies, or are you going to use diapers? So you need a surface that is the height of mommy, so that mommy does not bend all the time, because you change the baby so many times, or you shower the baby every day. So that constant bending is one of the reasons why our mothers keep complaining about backache when they're older, because they overdid it once they gave birth. So the process of birth relaxes everything around your back and your pelvic region to allow the baby to calm down, and it takes a little while, around a few months, for everything to get back. So if you overdo it at that time, unfortunately it will come back later to disturb you. So backaches, leg aches. So it's very important for mommy to take care of herself. Then finally, you need to think about, where is the baby going to sleep? So is the baby going to sleep with you? We call it co-sleeping. Or is the baby going to sleep in their own cot? Is the baby going to sleep in their own room? It's all there, your choice. So you need to think about all these things before the baby comes.
All this sounds pretty overwhelming, you know, for the new parent, for example. You know, the budget to have the food issues, you know, deal with the food pumps, breast pumps and all that. And maybe this is where I can bring Wilson in. How did it feel like, you know, did you feel overwhelmed with the budget? Like, was it too expensive? Is it expensive to have a baby?
It depends with your planning. Because, for instance, we started buying things quite early. So we were buying one thing at a time over quite a long period of time, let me say that. I learned of so many shops that time. It depends with how you plan on it.
And I'm thinking also for the person who probably has got no idea what a breast pump is there a substitute to breast pumps? Maybe, Susan, you can help there.
Breast pump is like a necessity, because mostly like for us who are working, you actually need one, because extracting the milk any other way might really be depressing and it won't help.
Actually, you can use, there are two common ways of extracting milk or expressing. You can use your breast pump or you can use your hand. It's just that the hand, most times, we are not taught how to do it. For me, for example, when I was expressing milk for my children, I actually did not use a breast pump. So when you're taught well, it can be quite as effective as a breast pump. So there's really no excuse. If you cannot be able maybe to afford a breast pump, you can still hand express and still get enough milk for your baby. Yes.
What about the storage?
So for storage, what you would do if you're hand expressing, you carry you express into a cup and then you transfer it to now the storage bag or the storage cup. So it's the same thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering, like, for example, if I can't afford like having a fridge where you can store all this.
So what you do, because you can, maybe you're leaving your baby for a few hours, so you can express before you go. Breast milk can stay in a cool, dry place for 8 hours, and the milk is still good for the baby to take. We can go a step further and make a homemade fridge, collect some sand and some charcoal, and you look for that old pot, you know, the earthen pot, the pot our grandmother used to use. They are still sold like in Gikomba. Look for it, then you put cold water, put that against a cold floor, you know, the normal floor. That water really cools just the same as a fridge, and you can stretch the hours to around 15 to 16 hours where the milk stays fresh. So you can still be able to do it with or without a fridge.
Okay, I feel for the mom because I'm trying to think you're going back to work, and nowadays we're emphasizing on 6-month exclusive breastfeeding.
Yes.
I mean, how does she cope with that? You know, if for example she's using the pot, let's say for example, and it's only going to stop for 15 hours, you know, when does she get to express, for example? I don't know if Susan, you're doing expression, if you're expressing.
Yes.
So when do you get to, when were you expressing? What times were you expressing? How often do you express? You know, and how did it affect you in your work? How did you balance the whole work life?
Actually, when I got back to work from my maternity leave, I had to discuss with my employer, like making him understand I need to breastfeed for 6 months exclusively. So he understood and he gave me time. I would, during lunchtime, I would rush home. And again, in the evenings, I would leave an hour earlier. So that really helped me. So like what I would express in the evening, I would keep it for the morning. So the baby would take it during the day between when I leave in the morning and till lunchtime. So lunchtime I go home. First I express, then I breastfeed, then I go back to work. Then again I leave work at around 4. Then I go home. I express again, and then I breastfeed, and then that was the schedule. It was really tough to balance the same because you're always on the run. Again, you also feel so overwhelmed. Even at times you feel dizzy because you don't even have the time to balance your feeding, and because expressing your milk takes a lot of fluid from your body, so you really have to balance even the intake of fluids that you're taking. It's by grace of God that we make it.
Any of us makes it. So Esther, I'm looking at all these things, and I'm also looking at the fact that you have got to clothe your baby, and I know it's normally confusing for first-time parents. You know, we don't know how many layers of clothes our babies need to have if they're feeling cold. Actually, they say the baby only puts on a sweater when the mom is feeling cold. So when do you know when this baby is feeling cold, and what should they wear? Should they do like heavy sweaters, boshoris, you know, and all that, you know?
So babies don't yet or can't regulate their temperature yet when they're born. It takes a while for that to come. So they do need to be kept warm, but also not too warm, because if they're too warm, we have babies even getting fever. We call it dressing fever. They actually are getting fever from how much of a dress they are.
Okay.
And depending on your baby's metabolism, some babies will actually get unwell when they're overdressed. And it's been linked to what we call sudden infant death syndrome, where you put your baby down and they get too hot and they actually, you die. You find them. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's important to regulate and make sure that you're not underdressing your baby and you're not overdressing. So we usually say, go by yourself. Mommy is the best guide. Because when mommy gives birth, one amazing thing about mommy is that when she gives birth, her body naturally tries to regulate the baby's temperature. Like if she puts the baby on her chest, if the baby is cold, her body would raise the temperature to keep the baby warm. If the baby is too warm, her body will lower the temperature to keep the baby cool. So usually mommy's metabolism and the baby are synchronized. So we actually go by mommy. So if mommy is feeling hot, then she should always dress her baby one extra layer
than what she's wearing. So if she's wearing a sweater, then it means she needs to add maybe a shawl on the baby, or maybe a heavier or a sweater. If mommy is wearing a sleeveless dress, then it means she's not feeling hot, so she probably just needs to add a vest and maybe a romper on top, and the baby is warm. And if you do that, you will be okay. Yeah.
Okay, you touched on the sudden infant death
Syndrome. Yes.
And you talked about clothing. And I'm thinking about the position, because when I've heard about it, it's when they talk about the position that you make the baby
lie in, yes,
How does it
in the
affect?
bed. Okay, so when you put the babies need to be put literally either on their backs during sleep, and you can turn the head maybe to one side like that. You can also elevate the bed just slightly by putting a folded sheet below. So this is the best position for the newborn, especially the newborn babies, to sleep. So in our local setup, we either put sometimes babies on the side, and most of the time on the tummy. So what happens is, if the baby is on the tummy, now babies are learning how to breathe. So they cannot expand their chest to take in a deep breath of air. And so if they tend to have maybe a problem with the breathing, then they just stop breathing. They can also lift their head and put their noses on the pillow or even on the bed, and then are unable to lift their head because they don't have neck control. Again, that might make your baby just stop breathing. Then we also have babies who bring up milk. They have what you call reflux. When they're lying like this, it means that the food pipe is above the windpipe. So if they burp, the milk can come in and enter the windpipe, ending up in the lungs, again leading to baby not being able to breathe. So this position is actually not safe. The only time we say you should put your baby on like this, which is during their exercise time. We call it tummy time. Baby should be awake. They practice lifting their head, and that helps exercise their spine and get neck control. So anytime on tummy, baby needs to be awake. The other time, baby on their back, yes, that is a safe position for baby to sleep.
Wow. Okay, Susan, was this something that you knew, or did you do it differently?
Well, as she says, people advise you make the baby sleep on the side, because when she wants to, you called it reflux, yeah? So that it can easily come. So there's always that confusion, like whether on the side or on the back. So we always do try tests.
Yeah.
For us mothers, we are not sure which is the correct one. And everybody has their own story and advices which are all different.
Yes.
So I think, again, it's God's grace that these babies grow.
Exactly. Very true. And there's something else, the navel stump. That one that everybody sees and everybody is scared of.
Yes.
I don't know, first of all, as a father, when you saw the navel stump the first time, what did you think? That the baby is in pain? You know what I'm talking about? The cord.
First of all, I felt as if even I was afraid of touching it, even cleaning, because you felt that she's in pain or he's in pain. But at least we had some advice that it's very okay, and it healed very fast.
For you, Susan, did you have a problem with taking care of it in terms of cleaning it?
Yeah, it looks a bit sensitive. You're scared. You don't know whether there's too much spirit you're putting or less. Again, when you're bathing the baby, you're afraid you don't want water to get in. So even that time, you don't dip the baby directly in the bathtub. So you are holding in a position that water won't get around that place. So you're just looking forward for the day that it will fall. Actually, even for him, the first few days, even holding the baby was a challenge. How do I hold the baby? Again, even the changing, he would assist in changing the diapers, but he was afraid. He doesn't want that place to be touched. So he kept off for the first few days.
Which also brings me to the question about whether you should dip the baby into the water the first time, or do you just wipe them?
Actually, research shows it doesn't make a difference. You can dip the baby in the water right from day one. Actually, most babies are washed nowadays from when they're born, or you can choose to wait. So it's up to you. It doesn't make a difference on the length of healing of the cord, as long as you take good care of the cord area. It will heal within a short time.
What is that taking care of the navel area?
So it means keeping it clean and dry.
Okay.
And nowadays there are different ways of doing it. Some people will use spirit, though research is actually showing that spirit makes the cord tick longer to heal. And the new guidelines, even from the Ministry of Health, is to use a solution called chlorhexidine.
Okay.
You don't need to cram the name.
Yes.
So wherever you go to deliver, they should give you the solution. And it's an antiseptic that helps the place to heal. But even just cleaning with water,
Yes.
you know, a little cotton wool, dip it in water, and keep the place clean and dry. It will actually heal within a short time.
Wow, wow. I'm very sure for anyone who's joining us, they're finding this to be so overwhelming. I mean, how do we do all that, you know, as a first-time mom, as a first-time dad? So in the next segment, our expert and our parents will join us as we do these things practically. Let's see how that goes. So welcome back to the program, The Nest, where we get to talk about parenting. And joining us now, we have got two more guests. We've got Andrew and Michelle. So as we said, we will start with maybe holding the baby, mostly for the dads. How do you hold a newborn baby?
Wow. He's doing a good job already because he is supporting the baby's head like that. He's making sure that the baby feels secure. One of the things that makes babies, some people will hold a baby and the baby will cry.
Yes.
It's because the baby does not feel secure. So the baby needs to feel that you have confidence in holding them. So you need to, the two basic things is support the head and support the body. So the head because the neck control is not yet there, and the body because it helps the baby feel secure. So mummies always have a way of doing it, and daddies have a way of doing it.
Yes.
One of the things, the biggest fight between moms and dads is, how are you holding the baby? So I say, let each parent, just the same way the child needs both parents,
Yes.
and each parent brings something new to the baby. So daddy will hold the baby in a certain way, and baby is confident because he feels, I'm confident.
Yes.
So supporting the head and supporting the baby. If I give the baby to mommy, if baby is given to mommy, you will notice the way mommy will look at the way mommy is holding.
Yes.
It's very different because mommy has her own nurturing way.
Yes.
Daddy is the one who usually gets to play. So the baby notices that. So as long as head is there, body is supported, however you do it.
So it doesn't matter what-
it doesn't. So I find some babies, like for me, my favorite way of holding the baby is like this. So I have supported them. The baby is close to me. They're feeling nice and cuddled. I find some dads holding their babies like this in the supermarket. And that is still fine because head is supported, body is supported. So there's no, there's no formula.
Okay.
The way you need to hold your baby, as long as you're supporting them, you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to the birthing of the baby.
Okay, daddy, here. So the first thing that you need to do is prepare everything. Prepare your water with the birth. You check, I know most times we check with here,
Yes.
but nowadays, things are changing. We actually check with here. So check the water temperature with here. It tends to be the most sensitive part of your hand. So if the water is too hot, you'll be able to tell. So check the temperature. Prepare everything. When you bring in the water, make sure you put cold water first. Just make it a habit, and then hot water. This baby is not going to remain small for long.
Yes.
So you might put hot water, and then as they are crawling, because they like water, they'll go and enter, and they'll burn.
Yes.
So always put cold water first, and then put the hot. Then prepare the clothes, the soap, everything. Heat the room if you need to, so that the air is soft for the baby. Yeah. Then the next thing you do, you can undress the baby. My baby here is undressed, but because babies feel cold very fast and they don't like that, you can cover them with a towel. Yeah, as you prepare for the birth. So cover them with a towel. Let them be fully covered, and that makes them feel warm. You pick 6 pieces of cotton wool. Because what we want to do is clean the face first. And we clean the face when you are either holding the baby or you've placed them down on a surface. As we know, new parents are a bit you're still not confident.
Yes.
So it's better to put the baby like on a surface so that you're able to clean the face well, without feeling like you'll drop the baby. Yeah. So you can pick or you can hold them if you're confident. You can even sit down and hold them. We say to protect your back. So you can sit the way I'm seated. So you'll dip this in water, and then you will start from the inside of the eye going outside. You clean that to make sure that you clean it well. And then you put that aside and you pick a different one for the other eye. Babies tend to get eye infections, and it's very easy to spread infection from one eye to the other.
Yes.
That's why we are using different cotton wool. So you do the same from the inner eye. Don't worry, your baby will close their eye when you're cleaning them. And you just use plain water. Then you pick another one, and now you go to the ears. To the ears, and you clean the inside. And don't be afraid, they're not that fragile. They're not going to break. So don't just, you'll end up not cleaning them well. And then take the other one and, of course, clean the other side. And, of course, this time, my baby is quiet, but most of those of your baby is going to be probably crying because they're not used to all this. And so all you do is keep talking to your baby, explaining to your baby, baby, I'm cleaning your face. It's okay to cry. I'm sorry. And you use a calm tone.
Yes.
Because I find mom saying, don't cry, don't cry. So the baby cries more because they are feeling like there's something wrong. My mom is panicking, so there must be something wrong. So they cry louder. So just tell them, it's okay, I'm cleaning your face. I know it's okay to cry. And then the last cotton wool, you clean the neck because they tend to hide their necks. So clean it when you're still there. And even this part, you can add a bit of soap so that you're able to clean, and you just soap the area. So once you're done, then now we go to the head. Now for the head, you make sure that the baby is still clothed so that you're able to have a good grip on the body. And then you will use what you call the football hold. So you put the baby on your football, like American football or rugby.
Rugby hold.
Yeah, rugby hold.
Yes.
They call it football because it's American football or rugby. And you put them like that. And then, of course, you take a bit of soap and soap the baby's hair. And then, of course, now you would scoop some water to rinse off the water. You can use the tips of your fingernails to ensure that you increase circulation for the baby. And you clean them off like that. So if your baby has something that we call cradle cap, which is a layer of dead skin that tends to accumulate around the fontanelle, that's the soft part of your baby, you can use, this is liquid paraffin. And it's really efficient at helping clean off that dead skin. So you'd put a little on a cloth, and a cloth needs to be, that rough cloth or any piece of cloth. And then you can apply around the fontanelle area, and you've washed the baby and you now apply, and then leave it there for a bit to just soak through. And then now you can continue washing the rest of the baby. So you will now put the baby back, and then unfold the baby. And then now you would dip them into the water. Now when they're in the water, we use this kind of hold. This is what we call the safety hold. So the babies, you circle the baby's hand, one hand with one hand, and then the baby's head rests on your wrist, and then you have one free hand to wash the baby. So you would take your soap and, you do your thing, do all the folds that you can get to, lift leg, just the same way you clean yourself, using firm pressure, not just soft. You need to clean up the baby, and then you can rinse off, and you can even turn the baby to the other side like that. So turn the baby so that the head rests on your wrists the same way. Use the safety hold, and now you can clean the back. I've been to homes where I find poop here because the baby has never been turned the other side. So turn them so that you're able to clean very well and get to all parts of the body. Then now once you're done, you come back to remove the baby from the water and quickly wrap the baby again with a towel so that they feel nice and warm and they don't really experience that change of temperature from the water to the bed. And then you now wipe them and dry them up, oil them, and now dress them up.
Okay. Wilson, is there anything strange that you've seen from her demonstration, or is this the way you normally do it? You did it with the baby?
It's very much similar to what I did. Maybe the only difference has to do with cleaning the scalp, okay, with liquid paraffin. That one is different, and it's a good thing to learn. And I hope even the viewers have learned something from that. Sure.
Yeah, so if your baby doesn't have that dead skin, and when you're washing their head, you just wipe it off. You just wipe off the head with a towel, and they're dry, because also babies lose their heat through their head. But if now the baby has that cradle cap and you had applied the liquid paraffin and now it has soaked by the time you're finishing washing the baby, so you would take either a jolly comb, which is the comb with very small, teeth, yes, teeth, and then you can come and just scrape it off, or you can take a cloth and then you now come and with firm pressure, you just clean it off, and it will come right off onto the cloth. Yeah? That dead skin, if it stays there, some babies will smell really bad, and you smell it and it smells like something that just smells bad because it's dead skin. So you'll remove it, and then now it's oil, so you just spread the rest on the baby, and usually you'll find your baby's scalp looking nice and clean. But if your baby has hair, you might need to use the comb, because you won't get to the scalp without the comb.
You know, for me, I'm thinking this is a newborn baby.
Yes.
Definitely this area is very sensitive.
Yes.
So most parents will be a bit afraid
To touch it.
Yes.
To be honest, the only damage you would do is if you're really applying a lot of
pressure.
force. Yeah, they're not as delicate as they look.
Okay.
The mommy's body to get that baby out of your system really, presses them and gets them out. And maybe one other session we'll do is probably talk about childbirth and what happens during labor and birth. But this baby goes through a lot to get out of mommy's body. So they're not as delicate as we think. So as long as you're supporting the head and you're just using firm pressure, but not really, you're not really pressing. You're just basically using the cloth to get it off, or using just the jolly comb.
And the liquid paraffin, it's a bit, I don't know if Susan, you're feeling me on the same issue on liquid paraffin versus baby oil. I'd rather use the baby oil, because I'm not so sure about the effect of the paraffin.
The liquid paraffin is actually very mild and harmless.
Okay.
Oil also works. It's just that it takes longer for for you to get off the cradle cap with oil. But with liquid paraffin, you probably need to do it once, and it remains clean for a while before you notice it again. So it's a quick fix for cradle cap.
Okay.
But oil also does it as well. If you're uneasy about using liquid, I say mommy knows best.
Okay.
So you can still use oil, and probably you might need to do it 3-4 times, but you will also still get it clean.
All right. So if you're joining us, we are cleaning babies. There's Michelle and Andrew. And the next demonstration we're going to do is on how to burp a baby. Before maybe you show us on how to do it, Susan can show us how she does it, or how she did it.
Yes. For burping, mostly we do it after feeding, maybe after breastfeeding or feeding. So I used to hold the baby like this, and then I massage. I don't know whether it's the right word to use. Yeah, rub the back until I feel she has belched. So then I'm like, okay, now it's good to go. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is one of the ways. But there's a little secret about burping, because some people will say, I put the baby here for 1 hour. And I'm not hearing anything. And the secret is you're trying to get air out of the tummy, out. So the secret is applying a bit of pressure. So if you're like this, nothing will happen. So you need to press the baby's tummy against you, so that there's a bit of pressure. Then as you rub the back in circular motions. So that's one of the positions. Another very nice position that people never know works is actually once the baby has fed, just take them and then come and make them sit like they're sitting in a pit latrine. Just that. And just put a bit of pressure on their tummy using your body, and most times they'll burp, even without rubbing the back. Another position is you can make them sit like this. Yeah. You use your body to brace them, and they sit, and you rub the back. Again, as you see, I'm applying pressure on the tummy. And finally, daddy's like this. You can use your knee, place the baby to turn, and use your knee to apply pressure on the tummy, and you rub the back. So you have different position, whatever works for your baby. You will notice one position that always gets results with your baby, so you can pick on that one.
Why is it important to have the baby bump?
Babies, as they are feeding, tend to take in a lot of air.
Yes.
And unfortunately, this air, if it goes and stays in the tummy, it might do two things. It might make the baby very gassy, and a gassy baby is a crying baby.
Yes.
They cry because they become uncomfortable, but most importantly, it might make the milk come back very violently as it comes out, and that can lead to baby choking. So we want to remove that extra air that the baby has swallowed during a feed, so that now they can settle and the milk can settle properly. So that's why we bath the baby.
Okay. And the system is not advanced as ours is
Yes, to do it for themselves.
For themselves.
Yes, it takes a while for them to do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. So maybe a final comment to the viewers from all of you on infant care to first-time parents.
From my side is simply to tell the men out there, be there for your wives. Nothing can be of great support, especially after that period. She needs you. And just showing her just small support, no matter how small it is, it will go a long way in helping her overcome the long period. Thank you.
Probably before I give my comment, I could ask a question. Like, what is colic? How do you really tell it's a colic?
Colic is a condition that some babies get, and contrary to belief, only a few babies really get colic. And we say a baby has colic if they tend to get really disturbed by gas and being unable to pass stool for a certain amount of time. They will cry for a specific amount of time, probably an hour or two continuously, and they cannot be consoled, not by feeding, and nothing can console them, and until they're able to pass gas or pass stool. And it's very specific to the time. Like if they cry at 10 o'clock, tomorrow they'll cry at 10 o'clock the next day. So when you hear that, actually it's not every baby that cries has colic. Some baby will just be gassy and have some discomfort, but a few babies will have that colic. So that's when we say, if a baby has colic, then there are measures that can be taken to help the baby, right from mother's diet, massage, having a routine for the baby. So those things can help calm a baby. Yes, but it doesn't last for long, just for around 5 to 6 weeks, and then, which can seem like a very long time. Yeah, but then eventually they grow out of it.
Okay, I've really learned a lot from Esther, and for sure I would really advocate for classes, like if there could be classes that new mothers could go and learn these things, because most of us, we don't get the chance. You get the baby, then you go home, then you're there, you have to learn out of experience, you know. And there's so many mates out there, you don't know what to do, what to drop, you know, what to pick, yeah. So your services are of great help, yeah.
Yeah, and I echo what she says. Just the same way we prepare for things in our lives. If you have a wedding, you prepare. If you have, we have childbirth and childcare preparation classes, which are best taken before the baby comes, so that now you can know how to take care of your baby. But ultimately, every parent has an inner wisdom, God-given inner wisdom on how to take care of your baby. When every wisdom and every advice has been given, you should always stand to that inner wisdom, because it will never guide you wrongly. You'll be able to take care of your baby.
So I'd like to say thank you to Esther, our doula. Thank you to Susan, and thank you to Wilson for being the supportive dad. So be sure to give us your questions, your suggestions on the contacts on your screen. And be sure to also join us next time as we demystify parenting. We always say parenting is a blank card, and we are keeping on writing this journey as we go along.
Many first-time parents are terrified of cutting their infant's tiny nails. What if I clip more than is required and hurt my baby? It is a necessity, for they really scratch themselves after a while. A nail clipper is greatly overlooked but will come in handy.
I have been your host, Cecilia Mweni. Do join me next time on The Nest, courtesy of CTN.
Do you have baby stuff you want to sell or swap? WhatsApp us on the number on your screen with clear photos of the items.
Do your thing like it ain't 1, 2, shake, she shake that ass, go.